Well, we'll be excited to play the spring game tomorrow night, 7:30. Obviously, a little change of plans. But when we saw the forecast and the possibility of lightning, I think it was the right thing to do to change the game. The one thing I didn't want to do was end up in the Traeger Center in another scrimmage and nobody there. So I feel like the best thing for the experience of our quarterbacks is to be able to get out there, have the fans be able to come and get the experience of a game. I've liked the way spring balls went. We've had two really good scrimmages, very competitive between the offense and the defense. I think it's been really good for our quarterbacks to get the experience of being out on the field by themselves. The last scrimmage we had all the coaches off the field, so they had to run everything, including the time clock. So that was really good for them. A lot to do out there to know what the offense is, know what the defense is doing, make sure you get the 40-second clock and get everything called and ran. So that's invaluable experience, and we're going to need a lot of that before the first game, obviously. I like the way our offensive line is coming along. The experience that we have there with Lucaeus and Mackay, Cole Bentley, Robbie Bell, Kenny Thomas. Linwood Foy's had a really good spring. I've been really happy with the way he's played. Caleb Chandler's been in there competing, trying to get a starting job. So I think that group's really coming around and playing well for us. Defensively, I'm really excited about our secondary. I think that I don't feel like we have a bunch of new guys in the secondary because PJ's been around and Rajay were here all last year. D. Smith is a returning starter for us. Kane Pass started some of the games early last year. So I don't feel like it's a whole bunch of new players back there. And they are getting a lot of work. I think Chandler Jones is a guy that was playing really well here the last week. He's really shown to start maturing and understanding. He's really, really talented. He's probably as quick a twitch guy as we have in the secondary, and his cover skills are very good. So we'll see how he does tomorrow night. It'll be good for him to be out there by himself tomorrow night and going against the one receivers, because most of the scrimmages has all been ones versus ones, two versus twos. The way we did the teams is try to make them as fair as possible. So when I mean that, what you do there is you take, okay, let's put these two offensive linemen on this team, and they go against the starting two defensive linemen from the other side. Then the other side of the offensive line, you get starters versus starters, backups versus backups, and try to make it as even as possible that way. I thought that we did that last year and the game got out of hand, lopsided, one-sided. But I do think this will be a close, competitive game, and both sides will get a lot of work done. So we do have a real busy weekend. Tonight we have the coaches' cocktail night, and what we do at that is we have an auction, a silent auction, a live auction, everything raising money for the foundation. And then tomorrow we have a golf tournament, and then we'll be able to go right from that to the spring game. So we'll be very busy, but I'm excited about it. With that, I'll just open up for questions.
Well, what does your quarterback get out of the live crowd that he wouldn't get in the Traeger Center?
Yeah, maybe not so much about the crowd, but the fact that it's a real scrimmage, a real game type play. You got the clock working, you got the 40-second clock working. When you're in the Traeger Center, it's more of a scrimmage. I felt like if we just left it up on Saturday and the lightning comes like they told us it's going to come, and all of a sudden we shut down the scrimmage and just go inside, that everybody's energy would go down. But to have a real game type, is something that I think he really needs. And Malik needs it too.
With you now at the spring, are you pleased at how the defense has adapted to the new scheme of Brian Van Gorder?
Yeah, I think they're coming along. We still got a lot of work to do, but I do think that we're going to be more physical up front. Dorian Etheridge has done a really nice job of kind of taking over and settling in as the leader of the group. We've got two guys really competing at the will linebacker spots, PJ Blue and CJ Avery, that both shown the ability to run and tackle and, you know, understand the concept of the defense. And then, of course, the secondary we already talked about. But we still going to need some guys to come in and help us and play right away, too.
What would you say the personality is? Because we've heard some guys say it's an attacking style. How would you define, you know, what the look will be this year?
Yeah, I think we'll find that out.
Yeah?
I think that's what we do, is we go, you know, play the games and find out where we're at.
What's going to be the format of the game? Are you just going to do, is there going to be anything different from a normal game?
Yeah, what'll be a little bit different is we won't do any kickoffs or kickoff returns. So we'll set the ball, and after a score, we'll punt the ball, but it won't be live punt returns. And then we'll run the clock like normal the first half, see where we're at, and then make a decision whether we continue it, running it normal, or have a running clock in the second half. Sometimes we've gotten a situation where we run the clock in the second half and shorten the second part of the game. We kind of go by how many snaps we've had. We've had two good long scrimmages, game type scrimmages, where the ones have had in the 90s, snaps in the 90s, which is good, because that's conditioning, that's understanding, and you know, you got to finish when you're tired, so it's been good for us.
The last 2 years, Lamar's been the top rusher. How do you see that changing this year? How do you like the running backs?
Yeah, you know, I'm not sure who's going to be the top rusher, but I would think it'd be a running back this year. No question about that. I think we've got a lot to find out when we come back in the fall. You know, you got Dave Williams that's going to be competing for it. Colin Wilson's going to be competing for it. Trey Smith has had a really good spring and shown the ability to really run well inside and break tackles. He's done a really nice job for us. Tobias Little, the guy that's 250 pounds, that's shown the ability to break tackles and has the speed to go all the way. All of them catch the ball really well out of the backfield. We've also got two guys coming in that I really like, that are fast and explosive, but as we know, it's a lot to learn as a true freshman. But you know, that core group right there, we've got to see who's going to take over, who's going to be the go-to guy. So.
And then in terms of format, is Juwan going to be live tomorrow?
No, we won't. You'd like to do that. No, yeah, you really would. You'd love to do it. You'd love to say, okay, let's make it live on them. You know, let's hit them, and then, you know, what happens if you get injured. So it's one of those things that I don't think you can do right now. One of the things that we did last week in the scrimmage is we had Malik, when he crossed the line of scrimmage, he was live. And it was really just to see him, see how well he runs the ball, see how explosive he is, and how he cuts. And he's a really good runner. So we'll have that tomorrow night too, that when he crosses the line of scrimmage, Malik is a live runner. So it's good for our defense too, because they have to tackle a guy that's really elusive and can cut back and make plays with his legs.
How has your thinking evolved on the risk reward of practicing kickoffs? The NFL's thinking about doing away with them altogether.
Yeah, you know, we don't ever practice live kickoffs and kickoff returns. It's always, you know, it's full speed, but it's never live tackling or live blocking, and it is hard to carry over into the game when all of a sudden now it is full speed and live. You know, the percentages we look at all the time on how many, what the percentage is that our opponents kick the ball in the end zone. Because what I don't like to do is waste practice time. You know, if their kicker's going to kick it in the end zone every time, then we don't need to practice kickoff return as much. We just take the ball on the 25 and go.
Was there a time when you did tackle on kickoffs in
No,
practice?
I never have. No, we never have. It's always been, you know, run full speed, get position, and then butt off and stay up, stay on your feet.
How much, you were talking about, you know that a running back is going to probably be a leading rusher. How much has that kind of changed your philosophy this spring in terms of prepping him for that instead of, you know, the last few years with Lamar? Yeah,
I mean, we've always practiced the running backs to you know, run the ball and get carries and be in good condition. But it was just the way it played out, you know, at the quarterback run plays and the ability to run versus pressures that he was able to do, you know, ended up being that he was the leading carrier. Jawan can run all that offense that Lamar did. He's really good at it, actually. You know, he's not as explosive. He can't cut back and change directions, but he's different. He's 230 pounds, and he runs very, very fast. You know, every time he came in the game and we would run those plays, he executed them well. But I do think that, you know, his other ability to throw the ball in the pocket, throw it across the middle is something that we can add and use in our offense.
What things have you seen from your quarterbacks, or in terms of progress? What little things have you seen them, you know, make that little small steps with?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is being able to go through your progressions and understand the difference between man coverage and zone coverage. So as they're dropping, you have to know what the safeties are doing, but it's really the linebackers that tell you man or zone. The linebacker opens his hips and drops out of there. You understand it's zone coverage. If he comes downhill at a 45-degree angle to cover the running back, then it has to click in that it's man coverage right away. And they've had some really good days knowing that, and they've struggled sometimes knowing it. So it's just you know, good to get out there and get a lot of reps and work at it. Both of them do a good job with their footwork and getting set and being where they need to be depth-wise. We do need to, you know, work the timing of the passing game with the receivers and the quarterbacks and getting the ball out on time.
Is Jalen Smith going to play tomorrow?
No, he won't be on the game.
Day available?
Yeah, we're really not talking about injuries. Our new policy is we don't talk about injuries till the Thursday injury report that the ACC requires us to come out with. You know, I always feel like that it's, you know, let's talk about the guys that played in the game.
You spoke at the beginning of spring you'd like to see a little more urgency from Jawan, you know, because he's such kind of a laid-back guy. Have you seen that as spring has come along?
Yeah. I mean, he's a real competitor, and he picks it up and goes. He's still pretty calm, and he still walks a little slow, and you know, like we had meetings this morning at 7 o'clock, and I was watching him, timing him, walking down the hallway. And, yeah, just maybe, you know, he's picked it up a little bit. Not quite where we need to be yet. I always remind him all the time that, you know, guys that walk fast know where they're going. Somebody told me that a long, long time ago. I don't know if it's true or not, but I try to walk as fast as I can. Still don't know where the heck I'm going. But, you know, he is really concentrated on the field of taking over the leadership and being intense and getting the huddle set, getting out of the huddle, or when we do go no huddle, of his responsibility of getting guys to the ball and you know, being quicker with everything that he does.
What are his next 3-4 months look like in terms of preparation? What do you want from him?
Yeah, I think in May he's got to do a really good job of studying what he did here in spring. That's always a big month of going back and making cut-ups of spring football and watching himself. You know, up to this point, most of the cut-ups that we study and everything we do have been of Lamar or previous quarterbacks running the offense. Now it's about him and watching himself. So you still get the looks and the learning of the defense and the concept and how I do that. And then you watch it again and concentrate on your technique and your fundamentals and what I could have done better with my feet or my shoulder. And then we will make teaching tapes of the virtual reality, which is really a cool deal. You can put the goggles on and you can look out and see what the corner's technique is, look to the right, see the other corner. You can actually turn around and see the coaches in the background. So the ability to get reps with virtual reality helps a lot, and our GAs will do a really good job of putting those tapes together. And then, you know, June we come back and have summer school, and he'll be responsible for leading the guys throwing the ball during the week, and we do some stuff versus the defensive secondary that he's responsible to run. So he's getting a lot out of that. He's getting the leadership of running the drills and then the experience of running the offense.
How much of that are you allowed to monitor?
We are. Yeah, that's voluntary.
Quote unquote.
No, it really is.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
yeah. So what we're able to do in the off season is now in the summer, you used to not be able to, but now in the summer you get to run it just like the off season. They can come in and meet 2 hours a week with the coaches and review video, and we can go to the lifting and go to the quickness and agility and speed drills, have mat drills, which is change of direction and agility, but you can't have anything that's with the football or that. They have to do that on their own, and it is voluntary.
From what you can tell, has it been a smooth transition for him going from watching Lamar do all of that to him now being the man and being the leader on the team?
Say that again?
From your vantage point, has it been a smooth transition for him from watching Lamar do all of that to now he's the man and he's the leader of the offense?
Yeah, I think he's did a really nice job when Lamar was here of being patient, and you know, he's anxious about this being his time. You know, he was a very good player in high school, a very highly recruited guy. I thought he did a great job being Lamar's backup, in that he was very encouraging. You know, he did a great job of helping Lamar. He listened, like when we were coaching and going to Lamar and coaching him, Juwan would always come up and try to hear and listen and see what we were saying. And now it's his time to go, and I think he's looking forward to the challenge. He's a confident young man, and he believes that, you know, he's a real good quarterback.
What do you get out of grooming new quarterbacks? I mean, really trying to get them comfortable as you make that transition from a veteran guy to a new guy?
A lot of gray hair, bald, aging. You get older. Yeah, you get older. So I mean, it's fun. I enjoy it, but yeah, it's one of the things that's nice about college football is, you know, you coach guys for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and it's continually new guys coming in. I've always believed that the offense changes according to who your quarterback is and his personality and what he does well, and try to hide what he needs to continue to improve on. But you don't really, once a guy leaves and is graduated and gone, you really just move on and focus, okay, what is the best way to move on with our offense now?
All right, Coach. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.